everyone, in today's video we're going to talk about maintaining muscle while dieting. Stay tuned. So my 5 top tips to maintain muscle while dieting is eat a lot of protein, okay? The recommendations is 1 point and against 1.3 pounds, okay? 1 gram against 1.3 pounds. Now, if you're a bodybuilder and you're looking to build more muscle, you can go up to 2 because there's not necessarily proven benefits or health risks either way. But if anything, it's going to be more of a benefit. And eating more than that is not going to get you the gains on that thin level. Where, for example, if you're having 2 grams. Strength train at least 3 times per week. Lift heavy during the sessions. Get 7+ hours of sleep per night. And don't set your calories so low. If you caught my last video in terms of fitness apps, I mentioned that in order to grow muscle, we cannot be in a calorie deficit. And if we wanted to grow muscle and, for example, lose fat, it's only sustainable for so long because you do, to a certain extent, need to go into calorie deficit. So your goals really need to be understood, and your fitness coach can help you. They are achievable, but within what period of time and until what period. For example, microcycle, upon your macrocycle in your program, does that need tweaking or changing? Okay, so for many reasons, ensuring you don't lose muscle in a calorie deficit is incredibly important. I made some notes here because it will help me stay on point. Your muscle helps you support your metabolism, and losing muscle will further drive negative adaptations that you want, and you're not going to reach your goal. One thing is that adding muscle also helps increase the amount of energy that you burn within your body, which obviously is calories, ongoing after your session for a lot longer. And this is why weighing yourself is not the ideal thing either, because you might be losing fat and gaining muscle, and you will show probably heavier on the scale. And gaining muscle takes a very long time, depending if you've done programs around resistance training, whether you've been in certain cycles of, for example, endurance, hypertrophy, or you're new to it. So there's a build up to get to where you are, for example, if you wanted to be at your maximum strength. You're likely to like the way you look, possibly, but I know there's a lot of people that love HIIT and cardio and they're happy with the way they look. If, for example, you've been overweight and you've got quite a bit of skin, resistance training will really help you. It also depends on your genetics, not in terms of your metabolic expenditure and calorie burning, but in terms of, for example, your skin elasticity, etc. But resistance training will help fill in that area, and also so that it's not so that you're less flat and it's more filled, and that's why a lot of people have the goal of looking more toned. To be more toned, you really need to have some strength training, and it doesn't mean that you have to go all maximum effort, but sometimes all the time, if you want to progress, you need to get heavier. And as a woman, you will never, unless you're taking steroids, you're never going to get bulky or muscular to the point of a man can, or to the point of those that you see are competing, because they are on a program of also other things that are taking that, helping their body propel in that direction. Building muscle is also really important for your posture. It's important for your bone structure. It's important for your maintaining muscle in later age as well, which will help you avoid injuries. So it has many physiological benefits in addition to that, which I can go into in a separate video. It also has been proven for longevity of life, and I would say also mobility with that as well. So make sure you're eating enough protein, which was one of our first point. At least, like I said, at least it should be 1, but if needed, 0.7 grams per pound of body weight, all the way up to 1 gram per pound of body weight. I personally recommend, this is what the science data says, 0.7. I personally recommend you stay at 1 gram and don't go lower than that. Like I said, if you're a bodybuilder and you need to add a little bit more, you can do up to 2. And I believe you probably know or seen those that have a protein shake regularly to keep their muscles fed, in simple terms. Lifting weights 3 times a week is extremely important if you want to maintain muscle. Not only if you're in a dieting phase, okay, all the time. Now you can go 2 weeks without training muscles and that's fine, you will get it back, but longer than that it will slowly deteriorate. Obviously you can always get back your muscles, but in terms of muscle memory, for it to return faster, around 2 weeks is fine, but more than that you're going to probably have to start from near the beginning of where you was, which you can build it up possibly faster because your body has been adapted to it in the past. So just make sure you eat enough protein. Make sure that you lift at least 3 times a week. I would say if you're looking at strength training, because usually when dieting, you probably got a lot of cardio or you're looking to lose weight. Some people are looking at aiming to lose weight as opposed to fat loss and weight on the scales. They're very different. But if you can get 4 days of training in, excellent, 4 or 5 days regardless. If you're bulking or if you're dieting, and make sure you have a rest day in between that. Some people have 2 rest days a week, so they will have, like, for example, 2 heavy. So some people will have 2 rest days, and that's just the way their body is. Some people actually build muscle a lot faster than other people. They adapt quicker. And so it really depends on what works for you. It takes a lot of trial and error in terms of not only nutrition, which is very important, but programming. And that's why sometimes even those that are professionals sometimes need a coach as well. And it's ideal sometimes to have a coach. It helps you. Also, if you're very busy in life, you don't have to think of what you're going to do in the gym. You turn up and the program is there and you know you're following what needs to be done to achieve your goals. But within a dieting phase, you need to at least get 3 times per week. Excessing above that as well in the dieting phase, I don't want to emphasize going over that in a dieting phase. The reason being is because I worry about the amount of calorie that you're intaking. So it's really important that you don't go into huge deficit, because not only is it a risk to your health, but also to gaining muscle. But if you're not in a strict dieting phase, and you or a balanced calorie and you want to build muscle, I'd go for 4 days a week. Don't train light just to lift weights. Say you're lifting weights, you will plateau if you've been doing that for a very long time. I did that for a long time, and the reason I was able to do that, I was switching between weights, is because I was very much in endurance, where I wouldn't take the recommended rest between the levels of the amount of weight. And so I was either I'd lift heavy and take the rest, or I would do a lot of repetitions of the weight, and so I was tweaking it. But to get to heavy weight lifting, I would have needed to take more rest. And so I didn't necessarily plateau in terms of feeling exhausted or that I trained during my session, but in terms of gaining muscle and gaining strength, I certainly did plateau. So lifting weights is not easy, and it also can be very difficult in terms of believing in what you can actually achieve. It's amazing what you can actually achieve, and don't compare yourself. The next one that I mentioned was sleep. One of the most important things is sleep. I mean, I've been to the gym where I've been on nominal sleep and I am just, even though I think I'm okay, I'm not able to do what I would normally do, what I've set out for that day, whatever muscle group it was. And then you feel bad about yourself. But if you don't get enough sleep and go to bed, you know, you're not only are you mentally and physically not as strong, but you're also not giving your body the recovery it needs, which is really important if you want to build muscle. Lastly, I mentioned about calories. So stop dieting and putting your calories so low. There is a fine line in terms of your nutrition and your calories in and your calories out, and that is really important to understand. There's a sweet spot that still gives you the energy to push the weights hard while you're maintaining or in that slight deficit to lose the fat. And even this period is only sustainable for a certain amount of time before you can't continue to add muscle. And don't compare yourself, because there's no prize to who loses weight the fastest. So just relax and go with what your body is doing. Don't compare yourself. Whether you're male or female, muscle mass during fat loss is crucial for long-term success. And like I said, it's only sustainable if you're trying to lose fat as well and you're in a low calorie, not extremely low, if you're just below on a sweet spot of a threshold, it can only be sustainable for a certain amount of time for you to build muscle, if that's your ultimate goal, to build more muscle, continue to build more muscle. The failure to do is only when you make your future fat loss effort even harder. That is your failure, and you've got this. Let me know if you liked this video, if it provided you with some insight. Please like and subscribe, and let me know if there's something that you'd like me to cover in our next video. Thank you.